All right, let's dive right in. If you're trying to land that first big data analytics job, you know how tough it can be. So today, we're going to break down the playbook for creating a data portfolio that doesn't just get you seen, it gets you hired.
I mean, picture it. A hiring manager is staring at a digital pile of 200 resumes. They all say the same things, right? SQL, Python, Power BI, check, check, check. When every single resume looks like a carbon copy of the next, how in the world do you get them to stop scrolling and actually notice you?
Okay, so look at this. On the left, you've got a totally fine standard resume. It lists the skills, lists the experience, pretty normal stuff. But then look at the one on the right. See that one little link? Project Portfolio? That's it. That one line changes the entire game. It's the difference between just telling someone you can do the job and actually showing them.
And that right there, that gets us to the heart of what we can call the data job dilemma. It's this massive disconnect between what our resumes say we can do and what employers really, truly need to see from us.
Think about it, right? Your resume is basically just a list of claims. You're saying, hey, I've got 5-star Excel skills, or, oh yeah, I'm a pro at Python. But how is an employer supposed to know if your 5-star claim is any different from the 50 other people who wrote the exact same thing? The truth is, they can't. A resume tells, but it doesn't prove.
I love this quote from Enrique Rees at Maven Analytics because it just hits the nail on the head. You would never, ever hire an architect just because their resume says they're good with concrete and blueprints, would you? Of course not. You'd want to see the buildings they've actually designed. Well, data analytics is a craft too, and employers want to see your work. So if telling isn't going to cut it, we have to do something else. We have to show. And this is where that project portfolio becomes, without a doubt, your single most powerful career tool. It's your proof. It's your evidence. But what exactly are we supposed to be showing in this portfolio? It's not just about making a couple of flashy charts. A portfolio that really moves the needle has to prove 3 core things. The source material calls this the analytics trifecta, and honestly, it's the perfect framework for setting yourself apart. Now, notice how this goes way beyond just writing code. Yeah, technical proficiency, your skills with tools like SQL or Python, that's the price of admission. That's the baseline. What employers are really looking for is strategic thinking. Can you understand the why behind the data? And communication skills. Can you actually explain what you found in a way that makes sense? It's that full package, topped off with some real business sense and passion, that makes a company say, okay, we need to hire this person. Okay, so that all makes sense, right? We know what we need to show them. But how do we build the skills to even create projects that prove all that? Well, let's look at a potential roadmap to get there. This 45-day path is such a great example of how to approach this. See how it all builds on itself? You start with the basics of Python. Then you get into the nitty-gritty of collecting and cleaning data, which is super important. And then you move into the actual analysis and even machine learning. But look at the end goal. Day 45 is all about completing real-life projects. The learning is always tied to the goal of building something you can actually show off. So you've put in the work, you've built up your skills. Now, how do you actually structure a project so that a hiring manager looks at it and is just blown away? Well, it turns out there's a formula for that. And this is it. This 4-step formula is your playbook. Seriously, forget just dumping a bunch of code and charts into a folder. You need to build a narrative. Start with the business problem. Show what you discovered and, more importantly, why it matters. Tell a compelling story with your visuals, and then, only then, do you give them the technical details if they want to peek under the hood. Okay, listen up, because step 1 is absolutely critical, and it's where so many aspiring analysts go wrong. Don't start with your Python script. Start with the problem. Why does this analysis even need to exist? Frame it in a business context. You're not just crunching numbers. You are solving a problem that is costing a company real time and real money. Here's a perfect, easy-to-understand example. Let's say you're doing a project for a coffee shop. Your objective isn't just to build a dashboard. No. Your objective is to help the business owners. The problem is specific. They have no idea what their sales trends are or what their best-selling products are. And the goal is totally actionable. Help them make smarter decisions about staffing, when to be open, and what to keep on the menu. See? You're already speaking their language. So after you've done all the analysis, the next step is to answer that all-important question. So what? It is not enough to just say, hey, sales are low on weekends. You have to connect that finding to a real concrete recommendation. This is where you go from being a data cruncher to being a strategic thinker.
And this table shows you exactly what that looks like. It's so clean. For every key finding on the left, there is a direct, tangible recommendation on the right. Notice how specific they are. Focus staffing, adjust business hours, remove the item from the menu. This is how your analysis creates actual, real-world value.
All right, you've built the skills, you've created some killer projects using that winning formula. Now for the final step. It's time to package it all up and get it in front of the right people. Now, choosing where to put this thing is pretty key. You need something that's super easy for you to manage, but even easier for a busy hiring manager to look at. It has to be a simple link you can pop on your resume. It has to be public, clean, and ideally, free. Something like Maven Showcase is a great example because it's built for exactly this purpose.
So, how many projects do you actually need? Well, the magic number to aim for is at least 3. 3 is perfect. It shows you have a range of skills and that you're committed. One project might just be a fluke, but 3 projects shows a pattern of competence and real dedication.
And remember this, because it's maybe the most important part. Your portfolio is never really done. It's a living, breathing thing. The world of data changes constantly, and your portfolio needs to show that you're keeping up. Add a new project a few times a year. This quote says it perfectly. Stay curious, keep learning, and show off what you're doing. So, as we wrap this up, the final question is really for you. A resume? It just lists a bunch of facts. But a great portfolio? That tells a story. It tells a story of how you think, how you solve problems, and the incredible value you can bring to a team. So the only question left is, what story is yours going to tell?